This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Mom and Pop Eateries of Grey Bruce. I'm your host, Rob Leonard, and last week we had Matt Dwyer, the owner of Red Bay Lodge, on, a repeat guest, and he was talking about, the state of affairs in the restaurant business now that we're well into the second lockdown, and we're going to stay in that vein. And a repeat guest again, David Verberg, chef and owner of Sizzlin in Owen Sound, is my guest. David, welcome.
Hello, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you back, sir. Always good to hear from you. All right, let's talk about, as I said, we're now well into the second lockdown, and it just feels a little bit different this time. I think, could it be possibly that last time we weren't prepared for it? We were just like, boom, and this thing happened. We didn't know how to deal with it. So we've got that experience under our belt. Could that be the reason why things feel just a little different this time?
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, we've had COVID now for a year. So if people weren't believing that it was going to happen, it's happened. And I think a lot of places have time now to prepare for it. I know we've done some different things now, knowing that last time what happened. So we're slowly starting to get back on track. Not even close to doing that yet, but we're getting there. But as you said, because it's happened before, we're a little bit more better prepared with knowledge and what to expect.
Yeah, and the last time we talked, you were actually sitting on your deck with the sun shining, and it was a nice, beautiful day, and not necessarily the case today. A little bit of snow and things going on there for sure. So around that time, David, that's when I think, the patios were allowed, and, people had a really a different sense of feeling better about things because you were allowed, maybe not so much to have people inside the restaurant, but in your case, Sizzlin, and for people that don't know, it's located on 9th Street East in Owen Sound, pretty much at 2nd Avenue, and you can't miss that rooftop patio. It's probably one of the great spots in town.
Yeah, that rooftop patio was a blessing for us, and for the places that didn't have patios, my heart goes out because without that patio, we would have closed. As you said, it's a drawing point to us. You're outside. It's just a totally different environment. And again, because the dining rooms weren't allowed to be open, luckily we still had that venue to use.
Exactly, and I've on quite a few occasions, I've sat on that patio and had a few drinks with friends and taken in the live music, and that was up there. Open mic nights were great with some of the young musicians in the area coming up there to play, and it was just a really nice atmosphere. So, and something that I'm sure everybody's definitely wanting to get back to. So, let's talk about the purpose of the couple of shows. The one with Matt, the one with you today, and I'll be doing another next week, is to get behind the scenes and talk about the realities that are for the restaurant industry now. A lot of people having, a lot of customers not understanding the rules that are put in place. Those rules are not made by the restaurant owners. In some cases, they can tweak them a bit, but we're being forced to do this.
Yeah, a lot of it's being mandated by our local health and our health officials, and they're kind of giving us the guidelines to work within. And again, they're giving us a little bit of leeway. Like with how many people you're allowed to have in to pick up. We can have one in the restaurant at the countertop. He said it's okay to have one in the back corner and one in the vestibule, because right now with the pickup and the delivery service, we have gotten a little bit busier. But by no means is this the customer's got to realize we can't control any of what we're allowing. We just have to follow the guidelines that are set for us, and everyone's got to kind of understand. And I think they are slowly beginning to understand that these guidelines are to help everybody in the long run.
That's right. And one thing I've struggled with, I think, over the duration of this thing, especially when it comes to restaurants, because it's been my life. I've been, as I've said many, many times before, I started my apprenticeship coming right out of high school. So it's been my career. But sometimes I feel that the restaurant business has been treated a little more harshly than some other businesses as far as the rules go. But then my argument coming back to people is, honestly, it's so governed by the public health people, regular inspections, right, to make sure that you have the proper sanitation amount or sanitizer in your water, doing your dishes, fridge temperatures. All of those things come into play when it comes to food safety. So how much more can we do?
Yeah, there's not much. We've been pretty compliant since day one. And again, like you, I've been doing this since before high school. I've always been a cook and gone into being a chef at 22 and have never thought of a different career path. So this has been my life. And, as for the new compliance it's nothing much different because it's always been the same, the proper sanitation, as you said, the proper dating things in the refrigerator, making sure that you are sanitizing everything when people come in and out, which includes the countertop that they stop at, the machine, the debit machine that they're using, the doorknob handles we're doing. There's just a little bit more vigilance and cleaning that's really affected us.
And in some cases, well, it's not so bad now because the dining rooms are closed. But even when there was, I think the last limit was 10 people. Before that was, around 50 or whatever it was. But you really needed one person just taking care of all of that stuff. As far as the things that you just mentioned, like the washrooms, the door handles, those types of things.
Yeah, and at the same time, you got to think about it. We're down on our capacity to see people. So we're actually at a loss of revenue, yet we have to hire more people to follow the guidelines of the health unit of, again, washing all the menus, washing the washrooms once an hour. It's been a real struggle. And, like this happened the second time with us, like we've lost 75% of our revenue. And to counteract that, we've lost 75% of our staff. We're working with myself and one cook and one server. And luckily, we've been able to join the ranks of Skip the Dishes, which has really helped us over last week.
Yeah, I'm going to discuss that one later on. I know you and I had a discussion when you first went on Skip the Dishes, and I was kind of leery on that, but I've changed my mind. All right, I've come full circle on that. We'll discuss that later. So, and again, you take a look at okay, I'll give you another example too. You and I both know saying that we are sold out of something, right, is something that a restaurant, a chef, or people don't want to have happen in their restaurant. But it is, I guess, like a necessary evil right now. All right, you have to really watch what you're ordering. So, I saw a restaurant the other day. They had a fish and chip special they were running. By about 7:30, they had put up a post on Facebook saying they're sold out. Normally, I would cringe, going, "How do you?" But I understand completely why.
Yeah, and I think our customer base and our regulars understand that because, as you said, as the owners now, we've got to watch how much we order. We've got to watch how much money we're spending. And at the same time, because we're reduced hours, we're reduced numbers, if we can't use it, it's going into the garbage. It's going into the recycling. So I think customers are okay with it. I haven't had any negative feedback yet. And last Saturday, we ran out of fish, we ran out of French fries, we ran out of roast beef, but we're running out of everything, left, right, and center, just because no, we weren't prepared for it, but just we're not ordering as much as we used to, and we're still trying to get used to, again, this new delivery service that we have. So I think for the main point, or the main discussion, I think the customers are more understanding what they used to be. But yeah, in the old day, you used to cringe. You can't run out of food ever.
I'll be honest with you. In the past week or so, we've had, where I work, we've had people actually come in and expect to be able to sit down at a table. What? I don't know whether it's the government inspectors trying to set us up or what it is, but you just shake your head like this has been in place for quite a while now. And we actually had one customer say, "Well, that's fine. I'll go somewhere else." Well, good luck to you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Unless your head's been in the sand over the last year, everyone knows what COVID is and what's happening around COVID. So that's funny to me. I haven't had that happen to me yet.
Yeah, we've had it, I think, twice or three times now. It's happened. And we've got one waitress that she's has no problem speaking her mind. So if we see anything like that about to happen, we make sure we get her out of the way because it isn't going to end very nice. So, okay, Dave, let's talk about the marketing and social media end of things and the importance of that now, again, that we're in the second wave. And this, we can talk about Skip the Dishes now. And as I said just a few moments ago, I said I was really not a fan of that service because of the service charges that they charge. But there's talk of something called the Great Restaurant. What the heck was that called? Oh, reboot. Great. I just read about this morning. The Great Restaurant Reboot. And you know what they're saying is that, and it makes perfect sense. When everything hopefully comes back to normal, there's going to be a new normal. It's going to be, what we were used to prior to the pandemic, but there's going to be some things that we're doing now that we won't do, but then there's going to be things that are going to stay. And I believe that things like Skip the Dishes, that's the thing that millennials do now. And, it's right there on your phone. You open up the app, you take a look through. And as I said to you this morning when we were talking, people scroll by and they go, "Oh, Sizzlin, I haven't tried them before. Let's take a look." So it seems like a logical idea moving forward.
Well, for a place like me, which is centrally located downtown, and we're kind of away from the core of the west side and east side, where a lot of the fast food and mom and pops are, we didn't have a lot of people coming downtown to grab food. So having a delivery service is what made our exposure really grow over the last week. And I agree with you. Before, when I looked at the places like Skip the Dishes and DoorDash, their percentages were just too high for us to even consider having them because they're cutting into a profit margin, which is barely even there. And as you know, as a chef working in this industry, the margins are minimal at best. And especially right now coming into our shoulder season, which is wintertime, which is slow. People are just finishing Christmas. People are just finishing New Year's. You got credit card bills coming up. Your winter bills are higher because you're using more gas, using more electricity. You're at home a lot more now, so you're using those items more. And when you think about, adding on a delivery service, which is charging a percentage, which cuts further into your margins, which actually would be losing money, I couldn't consider it. But then luckily, Skip the Dishes offered this new trial period, so you got 3 months for free, the tablets for free. They're not really judging you on your first couple of weeks of orders because it was kind of an eye-opener of how fast and furious they come in. And we're trying to get used to the point that at the same time, you can't lose your local regulars because they mean so much to you. They're the bread and butter of your business. But again, they're only eating out once a week. So you got to make sure you take care of them once a week. With Skip the Dishes, once that order comes in, you accept it. You've got X amount of minutes to do it, which means sometimes you got to push some of your regulars back, which we're trying to avoid. So it's been a steep learning curve. But as for being a new norm, yeah, going forward, we're not going to stop doing the cleaning procedures that we're doing. Like the table wipes, probably more washing, cleaning periods. Due diligence with wiping down menus, that stuff's not going to go away. But I think there is going to be a new norm when it's all over.
It is, I can't see things staying the same way, but not always a negative. There's been some really great things happening out there. I think for some restaurants, you take a look at We use Pebbles. I've used them as an example in Varney, and they started getting some of their products into Foodland grocery stores, and now I think they're in a good part of southern Ontario now. They actually, I think, from what I read, they had to open a warehouse somewhere just to fill those orders for the grocery store. So maybe not something they had thought of doing before until the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm guilty as well. I had one of the coconut cream pies last week. My sister-in-law brought one down for us before the lockdown. So people are looking definitely at doing, I see a lot of restaurants offering cold food takeout to be heated later and to do frozen meals. So things are definitely changing.
And I think those are the kind of things that are going to stick around too. It's easy to do. You just take your product and you freeze it, and a lot of people like that. Just take it home with them, and they don't have to eat it that night. They can have it there for a couple of nights later or whatever it is. So, which is a great idea, I think. So, let's go back to the the marketing and the importance of social media. You do a great job on Facebook, keeping your customers informed on everything that's going on. And like you said, you had some learning curve there the first night with the skip the dishes thing. So, but you know what? You went online, you apologized to your customers, and all the comments I saw, everybody said no apology necessary. But I've known you for a very long time. You're a very proud professional chef, and you take every bit of that personally. If one bad French fry goes out, it ruins your night. So you're to be commended. You're to be commended for that. So,
well, I again, this restaurant is me, and I have high expectations of myself and of my staff, and they actually have high expectations of themselves, so they understand what quality consistency means. And again, with social media, it's also about plugging your brothers and sisters that are out there, your other restaurants that are trying to sell their items and create their specials and put them out socially. You got to help them out as well. And I'm seeing a lot of that more happen too, where I am advertising myself, but then I see people 2 blocks road from me advertising myself as well. And if I see people in the next town that are, putting out something, trying to sell something, I'm going to help them out as well. And I think socially we've seen that grow where more restaurants are supporting each other rather than it's just about me, because it isn't about me. It's about all of us. We're kind of all in the same boat together. Not the same boat, I've seen that on social media where we're saying we're not in the same boat. You're in a canoe, I'm on a paddle board, and someone's in a yacht. But somewhat with the restaurant industry, we are in the same boat. So we're all got to help each other out here. And it's been helping. I've known that other restaurants who have been advertising us have told us, this place such and such told us to try you out. So it's a big thing, and I'm really happy to see it.
And I have seen so many incidents of that, and there was one in particular. It actually involved you. You went over. I think it was a special occasion, whether it was your wedding anniversary or something like that. You went over to Restaurante Rosina in Port Elgin, if I'm not mistaken. Do I have that right?
No, that wasn't me.
That wasn't you?
No.
Okay, wrong guy. Anyway, it might have been Doug Taylor from Walker. Doug Walker from Walker's in Terra. Anyway, I'll finish telling the story, even though it wasn't you. Sorry about that. But it was a wedding anniversary. He went to Restaurant Rosita in Port Elgin. Took a picture of his meal and. He put it up on his page and advertising for them. And I've seen you on numerous occasions responding to people's posts and sharing other restaurants' posts as well. So, it's really great to see that camaraderie amongst the restaurant owners. And I know for a fact that a lot of you have gone to try each other's stuff. So I really think that's an excellent move. And it really is a great indicator of how tight the Grey Bruce community really is.
Yeah, I agree. We've got a lot of small mom and pop places out here, and again, it's a lot of community support where we see a lot of regulars trying to keep us afloat. And as you said, a lot of other restaurants keeping each other afloat because, again, we're fighting to survive right now. We're trying to keep our heads out of water.
That's right. There's I like to keep the show as upbeat as I can, but there needs to be, the reality needs to be, it needs to be spoken as, like I said, as Matt Dwyer did when he was very, very honest about his insurance woes, and he broke it down too. He said that, so that people could understand, it was like, in order to pay that bill every month, that insurance bill, I have to sell 93 orders of fish and chips, right? And 90, I think it was per week. I think he said just to pay that bill, and and he said realistically, I don't order 93 orders of fish for a month right now because it's so it's just the way it is.
Yeah, a lot of places are really struggling. I know with our insurance company, I'm not going to say who it is, but they've offered no extra support for inventory that we've had to thrown out. Draft beer, which we had a lot of draft beer downstairs. We had just reopened up, so we just got new orders in, and then we're closed up again. So, and the big companies aren't taking the product back. So, you're losing thousands and thousands of dollars. And the insurance companies, I don't know. I scratch my head because it seems like they're still making money, and off the backs of us who are just constantly struggling to fight for every cent that we get. I don't know. Kind of hard to talk about.
Yeah, and the cost of food has gone up as well. I didn't realize that it had gone up as much as it did until I got talking to some of the owners, and it was like a case of bacon, for example, had doubled, if not tripled in price. An inside round roast. I made a suggestion to a friend of mine, why don't you run a roast beef, because of the area he was in, run a roast beef special, sell it for $12 or something like this. He goes, I was out of touch with the pricing. And again, like an inside round had doubled, if not tripled in price. And is that, would that be common across the board with everything, or is it just certain items?
I think it's certain items, and a lot of it is depending on the supply and demand right now, because we noticed with the pork market, with the bacon market, because there wasn't a lot of demand, with slaughter, they threw out a lot of product, which when they started reproducing, the prices went way up again. I know that my bacon cost went up, I think it was $19 a case from the first shutdown. So, but things like produce that we're buying locally, dairy products, pantry stuff, I haven't seen that much of an increase besides the usual yearly increase. But yeah, our proteins, you really got to watch out for. Chicken breast, that can be as high sometime as $16 a kilogram now, which before you were maybe paying $9 or $10 a kilogram. So you really got to be savvy. You really got to shop smart. You got to shop small, as we call it, because we can't buy big more products anymore. We can't buy cases and cases. We're buying 10s and 15s versus 50s and 100s, just because of what you said. The prices have gone up so high, and if you can't afford to throw it out at the end of the day.
Exactly, and it's very difficult to raise your prices too. You don't want to price yourself out of the market. Otherwise you're not competitive.
Yeah, and if you're not competitive, you're closed, because everyone that goes out to eat has a fairly good idea of what they paid at the last restaurant, how much that burger was, how much that fish was, how much that BLT was. And if you're not in the close spectrum of that, then they're not going to come back to you. And you've lost that customer. They're going to tell probably 10 other people, which you tell 10 more people. And then all of a sudden, the door's shut.
Now, I also wanted to bring up this as well. And front of the house and back of the house don't always see eye to eye. We don't always get along, but you know what? We're like brothers and sisters. We love each other all the same at the end of the shift. And of course, the restaurant owner is the one that's taking the brunt, really taking a hit here. But without the dining room having customers, waitresses are basically out of a job, or if they are working, they're not getting the tips that they were used to. That's a really huge hit to the wait staff. I know some restaurant owners have put them up to regular minimum wage, but in a licensed establishment, they're making a waitress minimum wage, and I'm not even sure what that is right now, a waitress minimum wage. So, you know, I know there isn't a whole lot that can be done about it, but my heart really goes out to them. You know, a lot of them depend on that money to, let's say, pay the babysitter at the end of the night when their shift is done, or picking up that bag of milk or formula or diapers or something at the grocery store, and it just isn't there now.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also seen with a lot of our local supporters that are still coming to pick up food that they're tipping even better now, because they understand that the servers aren't getting, as you said, the clientele that they used to. And with these delivery services, you do see a tip going off to the driver, which you should, because if you're getting great delivery, the food's getting to you quickly, the driver has done a great job at it. But at the same time, look at the back end of it, from the server trying to pack your meal, make sure it's done properly, to the cooks that are sweating in the back, trying to make sure everything is perfect going into that box. You know, with us, we share the tips with everybody. My dishwashers and my cooks and my servers all sharing tips, and they've all lost a lot right now. And already they've lost hours, which, you know, again, yes, as a restaurant owner, I've lost a lot, but I look at my staff that have also, they're losing just as much as I am. I'm no different than they are. So at the same, if you're ever thinking about going out and you're going out and getting delivery or getting takeout, yeah, tip the kitchen, because a lot of times those tips, as you said, are going back to the people that aren't making the, you know, 30, 40, 20 bucks an hour that they should be getting, but just, you know, it isn't happening.
Yeah, it's a really tough call, and I know I worked at Kettle's back home cooking there for about 10 years, and I know what it was like to get in on the tips there. It was quite the place, and I know once I moved out of the area, it was you really notice it when it's not there, because you're used to taking that cash home every day in your pocket, and as I said, picking up that bag of milk and things. But really, it is out of the control of the restaurant owner to a certain degree. But again, I just wanted to make sure I, you know, send a little shout out to all the wait staff out there. And like I said, we don't always see eye to eye, you know, in the kitchen and the dining room, but we're all family. So, okay, so Dave, looking forward, looking ahead, what do you see for the restaurant business? Let's start off with the good. I got 1 minute left, so tough question.
I don't know. Crystal ball in a perfect world that we're going to get through this. I don't think we're going to be out of it at the end of February, like they said we are, or the middle of February. I don't know. If people can continue to look at us as, you know, a place of need, you know, people still need food to survive, you know, who feels like cooking every day, you know, take a look at your mom and pa's, support them, support all of them equally, just don't stick to one. And, you know, just be patient and understand it. You know, if they're running out of stuff, they're running out of stuff. Other than that, that's all we can say. Okay,
David, we're out of time. Always great to see you, sir. Lately, it's just been over Skype here for the show, but I am absolutely definitely coming to see you as soon as things get better. So, David Verberg, chef and owner of Sizzlin in Owen Sound, thank you so much for doing this. For Mark Perry, producers Mark Perry and Darlene Van Wyck, I'm Rob Leonard. We'll see you next time on Mom and Pop Eateries of Grey Bruce.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Somebody murdered my boyfriend.
Is it possible he was involved in drugs?
No, he would never do drugs.
Gambling?
No.